Let's go. This is Zefzan, your host here at Connected Conversations Live. We are in day 2, experience 2. If you're new here, welcome. If you're watching live, feel free to, nudge somebody and say, hey, come join the party. This is a celebration because this week, I am launching my new brand, my new show, my new adventure, y'all. It's called Zefinitely Connected. And this show, I've brought 12 global guests. I'm getting goosebumps. The story and the joke is that if you have goosebumps a lot, you'll lose hair. And by the end of the week, I predict I may not have hair anymore because I have lots of Zef Goosies all the time because all of them have great stories and they all give me Zef Goosies. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. I just want to say, if you're tuning in live, be sure to drop in comments in the chat. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from so that I can say a shout out to you and say hello. Welcome to the show. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time because I'm going to bring on these two people behind the stage. They're watching me gab here on the stage. But hey, I want you to listen into their stories of, how they inspire powerful connections and also community transformation. Well, the first gal, she's all the way from North Carolina. But here's the story. I've known her for almost 13 years since I started my first business in 2011. Like, y'all, when God says you need to reconnect with people, you're going to reconnect with people. So help me welcome to the stage, Miss Dee Boone. Hi. Hi, Dee.
Yes, how are you?
I am great. And how are you?
I'm feeling fantastic. I am delighted to be here.
It's the way you say it, fantastic, because just now, earlier today at 11 a.m. New York time, one of our guests, Isa, she came on. I could immediately feel her energy. I'm like, oh, she's not probably having a good day. And the moment we got off the stage, she goes like, you know what? I had no choice. I had to just match your energy. And I'm like, Isa, don't worry about it. We're going to be good. And we're going to have a ride. We're going to have a blast. But Dee, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say thank you. And everyone, also help me welcome the other guest that I have today. I've recently connected with a gentleman, but he's all the way from Virginia. But help me welcome Chris Robinson to the stage. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
How are
Hey,
you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. So I'm kind of stretching Chris a little bit today because he's never been on a show like this. And I said, wait, you're going to, you'll be on the right here with me. All right, I'm going to swap places here with you so that I can have you both out there. Well, welcome to the show. First of all, thank you for saying yes to help me celebrate this week of launch for Zefinitely Connected. Whoop, whoop. Don't worry, you don't have to be like looking straight in the camera. You can move about. This is kind of free flow, kind of energy flow. Well, I just want to say a shout out to your fans too. If they're watching in, your connections who are watching in or tuning in, don't be shy, folks. Just go ahead, drop us a comment, and just say hello so that we can say hello to you right back. All right, both of you, I'm going to let you all take a minute to do a little bit of an introduction of who you are, and then we'll come back to our conversation. Dee, I'm going to let you go first. Do a minute introduction so our audience will get to know you a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. As Zef said, we've known each other for several years, and my area of expertise is I help business owners who did not grow up with the internet or social media and establish an online brand. I am the Tech Translator. So I make tech easy for people to use and who are busy doing their lives,
Mm-hmm.
So what I love to do is help people become focused on 3 key areas: learn, love, and lead. Learning what the information to keep you skilled. Love is staying connected to people and places and things that you're most passionate about. And leading is leading yourself and others forward. So I'm delighted to be here, and I can't wait to get into some juicy conversation.
Juicy conversations she shall be. Boom. All right. Help me welcome Chris also, and I'm going to let him tell a bit of his introduction.
Thank you so much. I just realized I'm a little sunburned. I don't know about you guys, but it's East Coast weather right now. It's so nice. It's like 80 degrees today. So I have a martial arts school. The arts in Southeast Asia, there's an art called Silat, Silat. Where Zeph is from, it's usually Seni Silat something. In Indonesia, it's Pencak Silat. So the art's about 1,000 years old, and I fell in love with it maybe 15, 16 years ago. And it's been like a crazy journey ever since. I traveled to Southeast Asia quite a bit and trained with all the greats and my art. I bring them to me, then we train here. And that has sort of morphed into a little bit of an ambassadorship, sort of grassroots to connect two countries, the US and Indonesia primarily, where I can go over and say, hey, we're pretty nice. Don't look at all the news and judge us, right? And they sort of say the same things. So we've had I take teams over every year, and we do some like I said, grassroots diplomacy and train in a really wicked, cool martial arts. Here in Virginia, we have about 175 students, and we're learning Southeast Asia culture, language, food, music, and just making connections as you would probably want us to do. So that's my deal.
Yay! There you go. And I love that you actually mentioned grassroots diplomacy. I'm finding that through the shows and through these conversations, words pop up and they pop up. I'm like, ooh, I like that. Can I steal that? And one of the things that came up was, today, and the show earlier today was, I had asked a question at the end, and then we were trying to figure out what would be like a good name for this tool, and we said like nuclear connection machine. Ooh, I like that.
Oh,
so that you build connections like a nuclear power so that it grows. And I'm like, ooh, I love that. Anyways, I started most of the shows with this question, and I think I would love to ask you both too. And because I see us as passionate change makers through the work that we do, it doesn't matter how big or small, because everything counts. I'm always, and this is the new brand. It's all about, yes connections and community transformation, vibrant communities, so that we can amplify the human experience, whether it's just one-on-one, community, or a group. It doesn't matter, so that we can, in fact, integrate, all the different ages, diverse ages. So the question I would love to kind of get the story from is like, in the work that you do now or have done, is there any one, experience or that you would like to share that probably you go like, I want to share the story because that I had a aha moment about, wow, it inspired powerful connections and community transformation. I know, Chris, you actually have shared us a video, and I'm going to see if you can tell us a little bit of the story of this video, and then probably we'll jump into D.
Okay.
Sounds good? Okay.
Yes,
I'm going to
ma'am.
put this up. There you go.
Okay, this video, that's on the north coast of Bali in Indonesia. And it's a group of kids. And most of them, I don't think have ever met an American before. And they do a silat called Bhakti Nagata. And I was showing them my style. So I went to Indonesia, to the root of my art, and got a chance to, with not very much common language, but we could communicate and train martial arts together. So I was teaching them my style. And then, of course, I had some of them teach my students their style. So without language, we just sort of cross some bridges that are difficult sometimes through motion and movement.
I can imagine, because, trying to figure out the language was one muscle, right? And trying to build connections with kids was another muscle. And that connection with kids with from a different background or culture was a different muscle. I mean, how did you, inspire that powerful connection so that you can actually help this community transform?
Really, you guys do it. You both do it so well. Smile, be real with people, And I think everyone around the world, I think most places, if you just smile and, be approachable, it goes a long ways. So with the kids, I didn't share certain videos, but there's a lot of all my videos. There's a lot of videos of my team just playing with them, right? Just playing games, playing tags. Just these things would come up from nowhere, and then the serious adults and all the gurus, with all the martial artists, they start laughing and smiling, and I guess sort of like you, be approachable, smile, and it goes a long ways. Because a lot of
What?
times in martial arts world, people are so serious. We're so
Yes.
uptight. We have
Yes.
our ranks, our titles, and our stuff, but you have to sort of drop all of that. Just be humble.
For some of you who don't know, so I'm a born Malaysian, Southeast Asian. So one of the things is that like I've learned, I think D, you also probably experience this, when we intermingle with diverse cultures, we tend to quickly have to learn with all these different muscles that we have, right? Whether it's age range, whether it's, ethnicity, or whether it's just like gender, is like we're constantly using different muscles to build connections.
Mhm.
How do you in your world do it? Any
Well,
stories to share? Because I love, again, no fluff, just real stuff. Yeah, you can steal
Mhm.
that.
oh my God. Well, listen, I was just telling Chris earlier
Mhm.
how I'm in North Carolina right now, but I was born and raised in Connecticut, 45 minutes from New York City. So
Yeah,
for me, it's a drive or it's a train ride to the city. And
yeah,
so I was explaining that uh, my home, I literally live 45 minutes from Myrtle Beach, which is wonderful, but I'm deep in the country. And so it's kind of like Diana Ross meets Little House of Cards. You know,
yeah.
there's one stoplight, one in the whole town. You know? And so I had to learn some cultural things,
Yeah.
like the post office closing during lunchtime. My mind could not handle that for the first month that I was like, explain to me why the post office is closed during lunchtime. So
Yeah.
and there's only one person in the whole post office, and it's
I can
Martha. you know?
Trust me, I know. I'm from Malaysia. We have those rural areas too, right? I can relate to that. And I'm sure, Chris, you've seen this too. When you travel, like to Indonesia, right? In certain countries, we do see that. And, it's mind blowing. It's also a learning curve for many people, and it's just, and we quickly have to like figure out like, okay, how do I integrate? How do I not judge? How do I be like, oh, this is how this culture works, and stuff like that. And I think having the ability or the muscle to kind of adapt, it's powerful,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
right?
it's such a powerful thing because the faster you're able to adapt, the easier it is to communicate with the people in the
Oh, I like the word
community.
communicate. I love the word communicate. I'm going to stretch you a little bit. In one of our conversations, remember, we talked about you and I being some kind of technology people, right? And we talk about like you being where you are, like deep in the country, right? And you go like, girl, I've met people who don't even know how to use a phone, and I'm
Mhm.
sure you have stories about that. But I think I'd like for you to tell that story about you helping one of your family members about like a phone. And I
Oh,
think it kind of helped you build that. I don't know. I'm having nuts right now because I'm having Zap Goosies. Help you to build your relationship and connection with this person, family
sure.
member.
It was my aunt, and I bought her a cellular phone for the
A
home.
smartphone or a
No,
flip
no,
phone?
no, no, no. Oh, let me take it. A wireless phone. Let me take it back. That's a actual phone, a landline.
Oh
That's
my
something
God.
different, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Wow. Chris goes,
I'm a techophobe. I love
yeah.
technology, and so I go to set up her wireless phone
Yeah.
from her orange phone, big orange phone that had dial. That you had
Oh
to
yeah.
dial. Anybody remember what it's like to dial a phone?
I don't think the kids these days know what that is either.
I wish I took a picture of it. It's massive. It is like a huge object you have to pick up, put to your ear, and dial. So it took 6 hours, 6 hours to change her phone from analog to digital. Now,
Wait, you had to call the company to
I
do
had
this?
to,
It's a
I had,
process?
yes, I called.
Was she with you? Was
Yes,
she patiently waiting?
no. She had no patience for it at all. And I'm saying, no, this is really simple. All it is a switch
Right.
in headquarters. But what I didn't know is that the telephone company that she was with switched over to a new company. They had all new systems. So her phone line was not connecting to the poles outside. And so, long story short, the customer
Wow.
service person, who's very young, told me to go outside and check the pole. I said, I wish I would. You know, and so eventually going back and forth, they didn't know what to do because they didn't understand what an analog line was.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, after being put on hold and or hung up on, I finally called back and I said, look, disconnect her phone and then port her phone number to this new line. And they were able to get the phone to work. You know,
Wow. What was her reaction when you were
she
able
was
to accomplish
frustrated,
this?
angry, and just really just didn't understand why is this taking so long. And
Yeah.
and it's what happens when here's something Gary V, I mentioned to you earlier. He said
Yeah.
technology does not care about us. And he's
No,
right.
he's right.
And
He's
and
right.
so when we're talking about communicating, one of the things that I love doing is helping people understand how to use technology to benefit them, not to frustrate them.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
versus it would have never happened because my aunt already had somebody come out to so-called fix the phone line. It wasn't the
Hmm.
phone line, it was the system that they had, in their headquarters. All they had to do was switch, port it out, pop it in. That was it. But when you have um, a age person of who's younger, Generation Z, that's customer service, they don't understand what an analog line
Yeah.
is, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then again, technology is like, "Ooh, hurry up," they're not going to explain it. So you need somebody that understands the history of technology and how it benefits you uh,
Yeah.
from back in the day until now, you
Yeah.
know?
I love that you actually mentioned about communication, but I want to take this into a little bit of a conversation about like, um, so now she's connected, she has a phone, and she's able to
Mhm.
connect with the world, right?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
beauty of that, and for some of us who are listening in, we're like, where's the power in that yes connection? Or the power is that you helped her get connected to the world. Hello, right? Had
Exactly.
she not been able to change her phone from analog to the system that we're using today, she will be cut out from the world because the world is changing, whether we like it or not, right? And it's going to be moving forward. And you doing that, I'm having sad goosies right now. You doing that has just helped her and able to make more connections in her world. You're transforming communities even at that micro level. And talking about communication, okay, enough of nudging already because there's a lot of nudges today. And Chris, and you, what I love about you and what you're doing, you're assimilating into this culture that is kind of like maybe in the beginning foreign for you. You too have used communication as a tool to connect, right? Because I'm watching this video. He's counting in Malaysian or in Malay,
Uh,
which is Indonesian language. And you
yeah.
do have a little bit of handle on the language. Tell us like what it was like to like not know the language, then to having
Mm.
a little bit of understanding of the language and how you can leverage that to build your connection and transform these communities. I'm having goosebumps. Yes, please share.
So yeah, I think everybody that travels the world though, well, except for maybe France, no offense to people in France, or maybe Paris even, but if you make an attempt at language, a lot of times it goes a long ways. And the more you learn of a language, sometimes it relates to the culture that the culture is valuable because that you
Yes.
take the time to learn their language. in Indonesia and Malaysia, the attempt to learn the language, which I have some Bahasa, it goes a long way. So some of the doors that were, people that weren't going to teach me because I was a bule or foreigner, they would, if I start to use their language a little bit, it'd make a big difference.
Yeah,
And speaking of the
it's so
technology,
true.
yeah,
Very
and the
true.
the technology was interesting. A quick story. I had a friend whose son found me on Facebook, and he was in Kuala Lumpur, right? We love
Yeah.
Kuala Lumpur. And he took a picture of himself on a helipad looking out over the Petronas Towers. And we're friends on Facebook. And I said, hey, one day you need to take me there. I've never been to Malaysia. And then 2 years later, we stayed in touch on Facebook. I went to Malaysia and we went to that same spot. And then every year since then, for maybe 5 years now, we take a picture from the same spot. And so he went from being like 16 years old. Now he's a young, I've got him, he applied to the university here in the US. So I got him in working on the finances. But him coming to the US will be one of his dreams. And it all started by a picture on Facebook that I said I really liked and like to be there with you and hang out.
Boom. That
Boom.
is, I'm having, oh Lord, I'm having, yes, yeah, all the Zev Goosies. These are the stories that I think, sometimes we don't tell unless, somebody just lead and curate the experience so that we all of us watching or being a part of this conversation, tuning in, or even you watching on replay, suddenly you get activated in your head. Wow, just learning a language. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because, sometimes I know from the Southeast Asian culture, and I think I've seen it in many cultures. Like in the beginning, if you're not of the same culture, you try the ethnic culture, you try and make an attempt to learn their language. In the beginning, they'll be like this, hey.
Mhm.
But later they'll be like, oh my God, he understands what I'm talking about. That we have taken the effort to integrate and assimilate and build connections. Ooh, I love this kind of stories. And I know we only have about 7 minutes to go. But before we leave, I wanted to um, ask each of you to share this. This is one question I asked everyone before we ended the show. Imagine if you had a connection power toolkit, right? What are the power tools that you put in there? Mindset power tools, connection power tools. What would you put in there? 1 to 3 things, just whatever comes to mind that really has helped you foster yes connections and also that probably will lead to community transformations. Dee, do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. As I mentioned earlier, my three keys fits any situation. Learn, identify the skill that you need to communicate. Two, love, find that love connection. What are people passionate about? What are you passionate about that I'm passionate about? And let's talk. And then lead is moving yourself forward. Now that we're in state A, now we're going to state E, because through that you have that communication. So learn, love, lead are the three keys to success in any area of your life, whether it's personal, business, health, wealth, mental. I tell you, you can't go wrong with those three keys.
I love that. I love that you are sharing that because I'm trying to type as fast as I can. Hey, people, if you don't know, never seen me produce a show, I'm going to tell you there's a lot of buttons behind here to be pushing. All right. Make this all look pretty, look so nice. Right. I'm also trying to engage with y'all in the chat. But learn, love, and lead. I love that. Those are your power tools. What about you, Chris?
Well, first, I'm a borrowed D, so I like that. I will continue. I'll work with that and with my school, my students. I like that. Like for me, with these connections, it's just being approachable and maybe a little bit of always trying to look at things from somebody else's perspective. If people aren't if people aren't approachable to you, why? Why is that? So it's just try to put yourself in other people's shoes, sort of see the world through their lenses and maybe and then reach out, right? Worst thing that can happen is somebody tells you, step away or I don't want to talk to you, whatever, right? But be approachable.
Be
That's
approachable. I
probably a
love
lot for you.
that. I love that. I love that. And I think people, um, for me at least, my power tools have always been, you know, have the willingness to show up. And this has shown up in the past 3 shows, right? So, and I saw this conversation come up in show 1, show 2, show 3, and this is the 4th show I'm bringing up today, because the other 2, it was just, the other 3 was just like, oh my God, yes, the art of showing up. For me, it's about showing up, because when we show up, we never know what magic is waiting in the in the corridors, in our cars, on the roads, at the malls. We never know what kind of magic is waiting for us to be unfolded. And we just have to show up. And I love, Chris, that when I said to you, like, hey, would you like to come to New York to the Malaysia Fest, the first ever? And you go like, yeah, sure. I'm like, yep. Oh, that's the energy of someone saying yes and showing up. And I love that. Yep. And then you go like, hey, we're, like you got invited, and then our the ambassador of Malaysia's wife connected with you, right? I mean, that's the magic, I think, and just show up, because we never know like what's waiting out there, because sometimes we overthink about like, I don't know, we're having a bad day, I'm not sure I'm gonna go there, and then I'm like, fine, I just registered, I'm gonna go anyways. And then I get there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I showed up, right? So oh, wait. Someone's saying hello to you here. Tennessee Mountain Life. Great life. Nick here from East Tennessee. Just wanted to show my support for Chris and his mission. Whoop, whoop. Whoa. This is an example of a powerful connection. Virginia, East Tennessee. This is what we're talking about. Thank you very much, Tennessee Mountain Life. So this is what I'm talking about. And, it's really how about we show up. And Dee, thank you for showing up. Like when I said, let's reconnect, and she goes like, here's my calendar link. And I'm just like, okay, and we did say that we're going to, continue to have like bi-weekly conversations or whenever, support one another. And this is powerful.
It is.
Dee, any thoughts, any questions to Chris to Dee?
Well, I love what Chris is doing, because as a little girl, one of the things I always used to watch every Saturday after cleaning, doing my chores, was watching kung fu movies or karate movies. So, I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing for me. I will, I've watched pretty much all of them that have come through. So it's like, I wonder what technique he's doing.
I know, right? That was exactly what I felt, like the martial arts is part of my culture. The Silat is part of my culture. But Chris, this was like the thing we were all talking about. You didn't know about this. I'm going to tell you, this is an honor that I'm sharing you this story, because fellow Malaysians and Malaysian diaspora were looking at you and your team and were like, what an honor it is to have an all-American team doing the Southeast Asian Silat. And we were like, and many people on it, my friends on Facebook, like, I never would have imagined, experiencing firsthand Silat demo in the US. And I was like, see, it's such an honor. And that's why I said, it's powerful. And when you had me, when we took a picture and then you and Carol said like, okay, do this. I'm like, well, it felt kind of awkward, but it felt empowering. Yeah, it felt empowering. I'm like, ooh, I didn't even know my own culture that has this beautiful art of martial arts. So I thank you for giving me that opportunity to get to know you all a little bit more too. So there you go. Well, I just want to say thank you to you both for helping me celebrate this launch and saying yes. So I just want to say to all of you watching this, whether live or on replay, make sure if you didn't get a chance to RSVP, just go and RSVP on our website. I'm putting up right here, which is right there, Zefinitely Connected at zefinitelyconnected.com. Go into the tab events and you will see this show, Connected Conversations Live. RSVP so you can get access to all 6 videos or 6 shows, and you can get information for all the guests on the show. It's just click. Okay. Well, help me raise the glass. I just want to say, I don't know what your choice of moment, but thank you for being here. Chin chin. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you on another episode. of Connected Conversations Live. Woo, I'm already sweating because my energy is flowing. Don't leave the stage, everybody behind the scenes. And until next time, until tomorrow, 11 a.m. New York, this is your host, Zeph Zen at Connected Conversations Live. Bye, everyone. Bye. Let me take you out.